Hey guys, welcome back to the Table Talk with Tati podcast. Today's show is brought to you by Brand UHQ. It's 2019, almost Q2 to be exact, and building a successful personal brand just got easier with this exclusive members-only sanctuary for female entrepreneurs who want the who, what, and hows to build their brands efficiently and effectively, because that is important, right? This membership is unlike no other because it's specifically for good women who want to grow their brands without being overstuffed and overly saturated with all info and no accountability to make things happen. I especially love to save a coin, so I love how affordable Brand UHQ is at just $25 a month. For founding members, you'll get access to the monthly trainings, advice, and support you need to build your personal brand. To learn more about Brand UHQ, visit joinbranduhq.com today. Welcome to Table Talk with Tati, a podcast for millennials where we bring real-life topics on the table for real talk. I am your host, Natasha Tati Weston, lifestyle entrepreneur and 3 times best-selling author. I'm a sucker for business, branding, and self-development, but I created this space to escape from the worlds we create for ourselves on the daily. Table Talk with Tati is the epitome of having the girl next door right in your back pocket. So kick back, pour up, and join me each week for real talk, current events, and powerful conversations about life, business, and all that other ish. What's up? What's poppin', you guys? Welcome back to the Table Talk with Tati podcast. I'm your host, none other than Natasha Tati Weston. If I could put like an applause right there, I would, because I think that would sound so dope. Anyway, I digress very quickly. Welcome back to the show again. Thank you all so much for supporting. Today makes exactly 1 month since our last episode, which I think I can conclude was pretty darn poppin', because I did not promote that episode like I should have. However, the response has been insane. So it definitely shows y'all's love for the show. Every time I even get a small idea of not doing it anymore, y'all show up and show out. So I love you guys. Thank y'all for all the love. If you have not listened to the last episode, which I think was episode 55, go check it out. You can also listen to past episodes and catch up at natashaweston.com/podcast. So, y'all know I'm coming today with some good. All right, sis? I'm coming with some good. And I want to talk to you today about quality over quantity. And today's episode was inspired just this past week. I had a speaking engagement at one of the world's top corporations. I know, I still get goosebumps when I think about it. I mean, it was just so amazing. And after the event, a young lady walked up to me and she asked me, "Hey, so what you got going on next? What's coming up? Do you have any events coming up next?" And I stopped for a minute and I was like, you know what? I actually don't. And for me, that was unheard of. Normally, for as far back as I can remember, when someone would ask me, "What do you have going on? What do you have coming up next?" I give them this whole spiel about events or projects that I was working on. Because, and not that it wasn't happening, but because in my mind, I equivalated success with being busy. And that's not the case. And I hate to keep saying this, but I've seen more success in the last 6 to 8 months than I've seen in almost a decade of being an entrepreneur. Not because I was doing more things and appearing to be more busy, but because I was actually focusing on putting out quality work and quality vibes over just doing work. And I think in this day and age, this has just become an obsession to just feel like you have to be doing 50 million things. You have to be a part of every panel. You have to be at every event that everybody else is going to in order for it to seem or for you to feel a sense of success. And I was just laying around earlier and I was like, you know what? This would be something that I do need to talk about, because I remember when I thought I had to be doing everything under the sun to make money, to generate income, and to be successful. And that's not the case. And so I want to share a few tips with you today about this, because we get so caught up thinking we have to be on all the time that we don't know the value of our resting season. There are seasons for everything. There are seasons when we hide in the house and we wear jackets. And then there are seasons when we can go lay out on the beach in our two-piece, or in my case, a one-piece, because I'm in that season, sis. Don't judge me. But we have seasons for everything. There are seasons where you're popping. There are seasons where you're not so popping. There are going to be seasons where you feel like being inspired and you're being productive. And then there are going to be seasons when you don't feel like doing anything. And then when you aren't really making tremendous strides in whatever it is that you're seeking out to do or to be. And seasons can last a couple of days and seasons can last for an entire year. It just depends on where you are. But I do know that we do need to become more aware of our resting seasons and know that there is extreme value, if not more value, in seasons when you just got to put your head down and do the work, versus when you always feel like you got to be on and popping. And that brings me into our topic today, is that it's not about the quantity of what you're doing. It's about the quality of the work you do, because people remember quality. People see numbers, but they remember quality. So always remember that. I used to think that, man, nobody is filling out my booking form on my website. That means I'm not qualified. It means I must not know what I'm talking about. I must not be good enough. I must not be a good enough speaker to get booked at all of these pop-in conferences and to get asked to be on everybody's podcast. And then I realized, okay, hold the brakes, Toddy. Even though I don't get booked for every speaking engagement that most people have gotten booked for, if I think about it, my last 2 major speaking engagements were for major corporations. Let me pause for a minute. I don't get booked to speak on every panel and at every event, but my last 2 major speaking engagements were for major corporations. Corporations that people who are speaking at these events and seeming to pop up everywhere have never spoken at. So this just speaks to what I'm talking about, quality over quantity. And it's not to say that you can't be everywhere and doing everything, but 9 times out of 10, your best work will be remembered for its quality and not how many places you can pop up in a quarter or in a year, or how many books you can write within a year, or how many. It's not about the numbers. Like, literally, numbers are important, but don't become so overly obsessed with numbers that you lack quality. So I want to share a few quick tips that I wrote down that I think are very important that will help you out with this. The first tip is to put your all into what you currently have while you're working on your future wants and desires. Now, if y'all haven't been on the show before, or listen to the show, then y'all already know I'm a stickler for pen and paper or that notebook in your iPhone or your Android if you're team Android. So write this down, tweet it, tag me on Instagram, share it with somebody, scream it to the world, call your girlfriend up and tell her. Put your all into what you currently have while you're working on your future wants. That means nurture what you already have in your hands. If you have a blog and you've neglected the blog, go back and revive the blog. It's springtime. It's the perfect time to give your website a makeover. It's the perfect time to maybe take some pictures to give you a little spunk. Do something to nurture what you currently have already invested in to any capacity. If you started a YouTube channel last year and you hadn't done anything with it, go back to the YouTube channel. Whatever passions you have, nurture those things. And that's how you produce quality work. I always use myself for an example, so that hasn't changed. In this season of my life, I'm doing less busy work and I'm doing more quality work, meaning I'm not coaching anyone this year. I have Brand You HQ, which is my membership. I'm putting my all into Brand You HQ. I don't care how many members we have, how many we'll have in the future. I'm going to nurture those women that are in that membership because I'm putting my all into what I currently have. That's it. I'm not out here trying to launch 50 different products this year, 50 different services. I'm nurturing what I currently have. Why? Because it's about quality. If I can continue to nurture my current project, which is Brand You HQ this year, then the results are going to be so much greater than me trying to coach and do all of these 50 million things that may not equivalent to quality. So my results and my bottom line 5 years from now will be the result of the quality of work that I put out now, which is another reason why you will not get a new episode from me every week or every 2 weeks. I literally have been posting one new episode every month, and I've been getting downloads like I post 3 episodes a month. So that shows me that there is quality in the 1 episode a month that I'm putting out, and that's what's important to me. So put your all into what you currently have while you're working on your future wants. Tip number 2, find the value in your resting season. Find the value in your resting season. And while you're in your resting season, use everything for inspiration. Keep a notebook. Write your ideas down. Write the things down that inspire you. Write projects down that maybe you would want to work on when you're out of your resting season. But do not downplay your resting season. I'm enjoying my resting season. I'm working on so much for my personal self. Like, I'm working on self in this season. So for me, that's a resting season. My goal this year is not to speak at any more events than I'm already getting booked to speak at. My goal is not to launch 50 more products this year. My goal is to use the resting season to revive my inner self so that I can continue to be the best person that I could be. I shared something very intimate with you guys a week before last. I had a period. My mom had a hip replacement. Tyler had went into a seizure at the hospital because his temperature was so high. Like, I literally felt like everything was happening to me at one time. And it was at that moment that I realized, if you had 50 million things going on, if you weren't in your resting season, I probably would have had a mental breakdown, you guys, if I'm just keeping it real. But because I was in my resting season, I said, you know what? I'm shutting down Instagram and Facebook for a week. I'm just going to focus on just being a normal person, not being responsible for anybody else or doing anything else. And I'm just going to just rest. And when I came back on social media, I just felt so much better. I didn't feel like I owed anyone an apology. I felt like things were still running, and I was able to just relax and revive myself, which is super important. And tip number 3, numbers don't lie, but quality tells all. Numbers don't lie, but quality tells all, because people will be quick to tell you, don't listen to people that tell you numbers aren't important, because numbers are. Yeah, you're right. Numbers don't lie. If you have 500 followers on Instagram, we see that. If you have 1 million followers on Instagram, we see that too. But if you got 1 million followers on Instagram, but your pictures are crappy, your captions don't make any sense, your posts just don't scream quality, people will talk about that as well. So yeah, numbers don't lie, but quality tells all. So focus on what you have, push nothing but quality out of those arenas, and watch and see what happens. Like, literally. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, because I think that we need to stop focusing so much on how many followers we can get. And this is me talking to myself as well. And just really focus now on putting out quality, whatever it is that you're working on. I don't care what it is you're working on. Make sure that it screams quality. Because then it won't matter how many people follow, because whoever taps into whatever it is that you're doing, they will pull away value, and then they'll share it with someone else. And then you'll build your community like you couldn't have done on your own if you was just focusing on numbers and just putting stuff out there just to put stuff out there. So let's try to shift our way of thinking moving into this next quarter of the year. Time is not slowing down for anyone. So whatever season you're in, embrace that season, pull the most value out of it and focus on delivering quality in your entire life. I'm not just talking about if you're a business owner. I'm talking about in the way that you nurture your relationships. I'm talking about your dating life. I'm talking about with your kids. Nurture those relationships. Put quality in everything and every aspect of your life. And I promise it's going to change the game for all of y'all. Like, I'm in such a resting place, y'all. It's absolutely amazing. I've been doing some traveling this year. I just got back from New York a couple weeks ago. I went to Brittany Hennessy's Duct Tape and a Dream conference. It was literally game changing. I'm going back to New York in a couple of weeks for Tyler's spring break, taking him on his first flight. Next month, I'm going to Cancun for a few days. In June, I'm going back out to LA. So this year for me is not about just being busy and being on. It's about me really enjoying life, because that's when I produce my best content. That's when I'm my best self. That's when I'm my most productive. And ultimately, that's when I'm the most effective person. And that's, I think, a goal that we all have. And so I guess that's the end of the show. I've had a lot of questions about what I've been up to. And again, the answer is nothing. I'm not up to anything, y'all. I've been pouring my all into Brand You HQ. Every month, I've been doing a class for those girls over there. I've been building community with them. I've been doing more work offline. And I've been seeing the results literally like crazy. And so if you're in the off season, embrace that off season. So one thing I wanted to run by you guys is a thought that I've been having probably for the end of the summer is doing a live podcast here in my hometown. I love having conversation, and I feel like I could maybe get a few of my friends and colleagues together and do something live where it can be more of a community-based situation in person. So if you live in the Charleston area or would be willing to travel here for a live podcast, let me know. You can hit me up on social media anyway, DM or whatever, and let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. And I will try to maybe put something like that together. Another thing, I need y'all to keep leaving reviews, keep rating the show, and ultimately share the show with someone who you think will find value. And yeah, until the next episode, I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I will talk to you soon.